There is a big difference between LCM and GCF, or sometimes you are using HCF, which is highest or greatest common factor. LCM is lowest common multiples. Okay, I didn't write any choices here, so we can solve it together. In case of 20 and 4, the meaning of multiples of 4 are 4 by 1 is 4, 4 by 2 is 8, 4 by 3 is 12, 4 by 4 is 16, 20, 24, and so on. Multiples of 20 is 20, 40, 60, and so on. The lowest term connected between them, or the lowest common between them, is 20. So between the numbers, we are taking the lowest common between them. So LCM here is 20 between the numbers. I have here x to the power of 3 and x to the power of 2. In case of LCM, I'm taking the greatest power. So it's x to the power of 3. Y to the power of 5, y to the power of 5, it's the same. So I'm going to write it y to the power of 5. But it's totally different in case of GCF. In case of GCF, greatest common factor, and sometimes it's highest common factor, between 4 and 20. Factors of 4 are 1 by 4 and 2 by 2. So I'm not going to write it twice. Factors of 20 are 1 and 20, 4 by 5, 2 by 10. What is the highest common? We are going to notice that I have 2 as a common and 4 as a common. But the greatest or the highest common between them is 4. So the highest common factor here between the numbers is 4. In case of x power 3 and x power 2, in case of symbols, we are taking the symbols with the smallest power. So it's going to be x power 2, y power 5, and y power 5. It's the same, so it's y power 5. So there is a big difference between GCF and LCM. LCM between these two numbers is 20, x to the power of 3, y to the power of 5. Notice that the LCM is divisible by these two terms, but the highest common factor, these two terms are divisible by this term. Half to the power of negative 2. Half to the power of negative 2. In case of changing the power to a positive power, I flip the fraction. So the fraction is going to be 2 over 1, which is 2. So 2 to the power of 2 is equal to 4. So the answer is D. Now, negative 4 root 25 plus 4 to the power of 3. It's negative 4 and root of 25 is 5. 4 to the power of 3 is 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. And here is negative 20. Negative 20 and positive 64 is giving me positive 44. So the answer is B. The answer is B. What is the irrational number from these? From these values? Root 8, which can be written as 2 root 2, or 0.32, which is 0.32, 32, 32. It's called a recurring decimals. Negative root 121, which is negative 11, and this number is integer and rational and real numbers. 22 over 7 is not pi. Pi, if I wanted to find pi is, I'm going to write pi. Pi is irrational value. But 22 over 7 is a fraction, and fraction is rational. Okay, so it's not pi. So the only number of these that cannot be written as a whole number or decimal inaccurate value is root 8. So the answer is 2 root 2. Rationalize the denominator. And the meaning of rationalize the denominator is to write the denominator as a whole number. Rational, integer, but not a complex or imaginary value. To write 3 over 5 minus I and to rationalize the denominator, I need to multiply by the conjugate of 5 minus I. And the conjugate of 5 minus I is 5 plus I. So I'm going to write 5 plus I up and 5 plus I down. And why is that? Because 5 by 5 is give me 25, and positive by negative is gonna be negative, but we are going to change it into positive because I by I is I power 2, which is 1. Again, I multiply I is I to the power of 2, which is equal to negative 1. And you should know that A minus B in I multiply A plus B in I is equal to A square plus B square. And there is a big difference between how to simplify these two conjugate and x minus y multiply x plus y, because this one is give me x square minus y square, and this one is a common mistake between the students. It's confused them to notice the difference between a square plus b square and x square minus y square. So the denominator here is 26. And 3 by 5 is 15, and 3 multiply I is positive 3I. So it's clear for us that the answer is A. Why? Because the sign here is negative, the sign here is 5 plus I, and it's clear for us that is going to be 2 terms, and this one is 3 from 2. How I will figure out 1 over 2? It's not 13 here. So directly the answer is A. How we can multiply 2 by 2 matrix and 2 by 2 matrix? While we are multiplying matrices, we need to multiply the first row by the first column and multiplied by the second column. Then multiply the second row by the first column and the second column. Let's do it together. So 1 by 3 is 3 plus negative 1 multiplied by 2 is negative 2. Add them, so the first term here is 1. Then 1 by negative 1 is negative 1, and negative 1 by 0 is 0. So the term here is negative 1. Then 0 by 3 is 0, and 3 by 2 is 6. So the third element here is 6. 0 by negative 1 is 0, and 3 by 0 is 0. So the answer here is 0. So it gives me 2 by 2 matrices with 1, negative 1, 6, and 0. First, I'm going to start by simplifying the second matrix. So I'm going to write it as 4, negative 2, 2, and 0 after multiplying 2 by each element here. So 2 by 2 is 4, 2 by negative 1 is negative 2, 2 by 0 is 0. Then I'm going to add only the elements that corresponding to x and y. So negative 1 and negative 2 is negative 3, and 3 plus 2 is 5. If you are smart enough, you may not need to write this step that will deduce the time that you are using to solve. So now I can write that 5 minus x is equal to negative 3, the corresponding element, and y plus 1 is equal to 5. So y is equal to 4, and by moving x to the other side and moving negative 3 to this side, so x is equal to 8. So x plus y is 8 plus 4, which is equal to 12. To find a times a, it's not a square. It's equal to a square, but not as a value. So, for example, you don't square 2 and write 4. You don't square negative 1, which is 1. You don't square 1 is 1. And squaring 2, which is 4. So this is not right in matrices. In a times a, you should write 2 and negative 1, 1 and 2, and multiply it by itself. 2, negative 1, 1 and 2. We start by multiplying row by column. So 2 by 2 is 4, negative 1 by 1 is negative 1. So the first element is 3. And then 2 multiplied by negative 1 is negative 2, and negative 1 multiplied by 2 is negative 2. So the second element is negative 4. So I'm sure that I'm going to cancel the answer of A, and I'm going to cancel the answer of B. So the answer is C or B. I have a common B here, so let's write it D. And 1 by 2 is 2, and 1 and 2 by 1 is 2, so the third element here is 4. So I'm sure that the answer is D. Let's make sure 1 by negative 1 is negative 1, and 2 by 2 is 4, so negative 1 plus 4 is 3. So the answer is D. The determinant of this matrix is equal to 5, and we know that if I wanted to find the determinant of a matrix A, B, C, and D, we find the determinant by multiplying A and D minus B and C. So 1 multiply x minus 2 here minus 3 by 2, which is 6, is equal to 5. So x minus 2 minus 6 is equal to 5. Negative 2 and negative 6 is negative 8. Move to the other side, positive 8. So 5 plus 8, which is equal to 13. So the answer is D. Log 5 for 25. If I wanted to simplify log 5 for 25, I may ask myself, 5 to the power of what to give me 25? I'm going to change it from log form to exponential form. So we all know that 5 to the power of 2 is equal to 25. So instead of writing log 5 to 25, I'm going to write it 2 plus log 1 is always equal to 0, because log any number to the power of 0 is give me 1. Finally, log 5 for 5 is equal to 1, because we know that log A for A is equal to 1. So whatever the number here is, it will give me 1. So it's minus 2 multiplied by 1. So it's 2 minus 2, which is equal to 0. Log 3 for 27 plus log 3 for 1 over 27. It's log 3 for 27, and I can write 1 over 27 as 1 over 3 to the power of 3, or if you prefer, you can write it as 27 to the power of negative 1. Because if I flip the fraction, I'm going to change the sign of the power. So this one is log 3 for 27 plus this power is go down here. It's negative 1 log 3 for 27. So I will figure out that it's a number and its inverse in negative. So the sum of a number and its inverse is 0, without simplifying the question itself. So log 5 for root 5 can be written as log 5 for 5 to the power of half, because we know that root of x is equal x to the power of half. So we can change root, write it as exponent power half. So half will go outside the log, so it's half log 5 for 5. And log number for itself, for its base, is give me 1. So half multiplied by 1 is half. So don't forget that log a for a is equal to 1, and log a for x bar n is the same as n log a for x. 3 log x minus log x is equal to 2 times log 2 plus log 3. Let's start with the left part here. Log 2 plus log 3, and I have addition. Log a plus log b is the same as log ab. So 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. So it's equal to log 6. Inverse of the rule, we are going to put the power. So it's log 6 to the power of 2. From where? From the rule which says that log x for n base a is the same as log a for x to the power of n. Here I have subtraction, but first I may move this 3 up here. So I may write this one as log x to the power of 3 minus log x. In case of subtraction, it changed into division. So it's log x to the power of 3 divided by x, which can be written as x squared. So log 6 squared is equal log to x squared. By comparing between x squared and 6 squared, we can figure out that x is equal to 6. Okay, so here I don't have any solution for that, or I don't have a solution for these values. No solutions here. Yeah. I may remind you by the rule which says that log x plus log y is equal log xy. And in case of subtraction, log x minus log y, it's the same as log x over y. So in this case, this one is addition. So I'm going to multiply x plus 1 and x, because both of them is log for 5. So this is log 5 for x multiply x plus 1. Minus, before we subtract, I can move these 2 to the power here. So I can write it here. So it's minus log 5 for 1 plus x to the power of 2. In case of subtraction, I'm going to write 1 log above x plus 1 multiplied by x, and down x plus 1 to the power of 2. By simplifying x plus 1 with 1 of x plus 1 in the power, is going to be log 5 for x above, and in the denominator only 1 of x plus 1. So the answer is C. Log 2 for x over y is equal to 3, and log 2 for xy is equal to 5. Then x only is equal to what? We know that log 2 for over y for equal to 3 can be written as log 2 for x minus log 2 for y is equal to 3. Because in case of division, I change it into subtraction. And in case of multiplication, can be written as log 2 for x plus log 2 for y is equal to 5. Then add these two equations together. So 2 log 2 for x is equal 3 plus 5 is 8. By dividing both by 2, so log 2 for x is equal to 4. Now change it from logarithm form to exponential form. So this one, 2 to the power of 4 is equal to what? Equal to x. So x is equal to 16. So the answer is D. It's easier to solve this question than trying to use the choices. So f g of x, it means that g is replaced in f. So instead of writing x squared here, I'm going to replace x with x minus 3. So it's x minus 3 squared plus 1. Again, f is x squared minus 1 plus 1. So instead of writing x, write it as a bracket. Bracket power 2 plus 1. Inside this bracket, put g of x. And g f of x is equal x minus 3. Put it as a bracket minus 3. Inside this bracket, put f of x. So g f of x is equal x squared plus 1 minus 3. This one in simplest form is x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus 1. Again, how I can expand the bracket to the power of 2? First square, second square, which is always positive, first by second by 2. If you don't know, you can write it as x minus 3 squared, x minus 3 multiply x minus 3. So start by multiplying x by x, and then x by minus 3, then minus 3 by x, and minus 3 by minus 3, which is positive 9. So negative 3 and negative 3, it's x squared minus 6x plus 9. By adding positive 1 and 9, so it's x squared minus 6x plus 10. And for the second one, it's x squared plus 1 minus 3, which is x squared minus 2. Now, these two terms are equal. So x squared minus 6x plus 10 is equal to x squared minus 2. Positive with positive when it moves to the other side. So negative 6x equal to negative 2 minus 2 minus 10 is negative 12. Divided both by negative 6. So x is equal to 2. So the only value which makes f g of x is equal gf of x is 2. To find f of x minus 1, it means that I'm going to replace this x with x minus 1. So it's 4 multiply x minus 1 squared minus 8. So it's 4, and any bracket to the power of 2 is give me 3 terms. First square, last term square. If this sign is minus, I put it down. First by second by 2. So 1x by 1 is 1x by 2 is 2x minus 8. Let's expand it, distribute the 4. So it's a 4x squared minus 8x plus 4 minus 8. Positive 4 and negative 8. So it's negative 4. So the answer is A. For the students who don't know that the parent function y is equal absolute value of x, its graph is like that. And its range starts from 0 till infinity on the y-axis. In case of x minus 1 plus 3, this 3 is outside the function, so this is shift up 3 units. And minus 1, it means that you are moving to the right, not the left. So you are going to move this graph to the right and then move it up 3 units. So the intersection here will be the point 1 and 3. So the least point of the y-axis, you are going to take it from the y-axis is 3. Till what? Till infinity. And 3 is closed, it's with me. So the answer is 3 and infinity open. Notice that it could be written as 3 and infinity using this kind of braces, 3 and infinity open. So root 5 minus 4, 5, it means shift to the right 5 units. And positive 4, it means to move or shifting up 4 units. The parent function of root x is like this. This one is root x. So if I move to the right 5, and up 4, the starting point will be here like that. So the minimum value of y here is 4, and the maximum is infinity. So it's x greater than or equal to 4. This one is A, this one is B, this one's supposed to be C, and that one is D. Thank you. And this one, DE is parallel to BC, so these two sides are parallel. And measure of angle A is equal to 60. And the measure of angle DEC, as we can see, is 125. What the measure of angle B? By the way, measure of angle B is equal measure of angle ADE, and the reason because they are corresponding angles. And measure of angle E is equal to measure of angle C also for the same reason. So this angle are supplementary one. So measure of angle AED is 180 minus 125, which is 55 degrees. So in the triangle ADE, I have in this triangle, this angle is 60 and this angle is 55. So measure of angle ADE is 180 minus the sum of 60 and 55, which is 115. So the measure of the angle is 65. So the answer is C. ABC is an equilateral triangle, and we know that since it's equilateral triangle, the three sides are equal and each side is equal to 10. Segment DC is equal to 5. Since DC is equal to 5, so DB is equal to 5. So AD bisects BC. And since it's bisect, it's perpendicular. So AD is also perpendicular to BC. He's asking for what? He's asking for the length of AD. So I have a right angle triangle, so I can use the Pythagorean theorem. For the triangle ADC. This side is 10 and that side is 5. So I wanted to find one of the leg. So AD is equal root of the hypotenuse square minus the other leg square. So it's root 100 minus 25, which is root of 75. Now, how I can simplify 75? If you don't know how to simplify root of 75, you can use the vice versa of the method. For example, 5 root 2, when I put 5 inside, it's gonna be 25 multiplied by 2, so this one is root 50. So A is not the answer. 5 root 3, when I put the 5 inside the root, it's 25 multiplied by 3, which is root of 75. So B is the answer. 10 root 2 is 100 multiplied by 2, which is root 200. 10 root 3, it's root of 300. If you don't know how to simplify this one, you can use the old method of division. 75 divided by 5 is give me 15, divided by 5 is give me 3, divided by 3 is give me 1. So from each repeated two numbers, I'm taking 1, and this one is taking the root. So it's 5 root 3. If you are smart enough, you can write 75 as 25 multiplied by 3. And the 25 jump up or jump outside the root as 5, so it's a 5 root of 3. Which of the following statement is a line is passing through these 2 points is true? First, I need to find the slope. And the slope is y2 minus y1, difference of the y, over difference of the x coordinates. So it's 4 minus 4 over 3 minus negative 2. So it's 0 over 5, which is equal to 0. In case of the slope is equal to 0, so the straight line is a vertical or a horizontal straight line. In case of the slope is 0, the straight line is a horizontal line. Very good. So it's a horizontal line, and in case of horizontal, it's parallel to the x-axis. But in case of the slope is undefined, it's a vertical line parallel to the y-axis. So here, horizontal line parallel to the x-axis. So the slope is negative, slope is positive, undefined. So we are going to choose D. Slope is 0.